Great Demon King, Chapter 28. City of Zajoski. A streak of white light shimmered across the tall stone columns as Han Shuo and several necromancy students appeared within the confines of a circular, rune-engraved magical matrix. The floor beneath their feet bore the distinct pattern of an enormous six-pointed star, its lines carved into the stone with precise craftsmanship. Exquisite magical symbols and looping incantation scripts spiraled across the supporting columns, crackling faintly with residual magical currents. Han Shuo's eyes darted around, his face registering pure astonishment. Just moments ago, he'd been standing on a similar teleportation matrix back at the Babylon Academy of Magic and Force. He had felt only a surge of potent magical force that made his hair stand on end, then a blinding flash of white light, and now he was here. Everything about the place was new and strange to him. Lisa caught sight of Han Shuo's wide-eyed wonder and shot him a slightly smug glance. "Stop gawking," she said with a dismissive sniff. "Sure, teleportation matrices are impressive, but there's no need to look like you've never seen magic before." In truth, Han Shuo couldn't help but stare. Although he had read about magical transportation matrices, actually stepping through one was an entirely different experience, as if he'd been whisked away by some vast invisible hand. He forced himself to calm down, yet his gaze kept sweeping the matrix's radiant lines and curving glyphs, trying to memorize any details he could. He had long understood that, with his limited grasp of magical theory, fully deciphering such a sophisticated array was out of reach. Moreover, these arrays were rare and incredibly expensive to construct, requiring an astronomical amount of magical ingredients. Even eminent mages struggled to arrange them without significant cost. At the same time, he reflected on his recent triumphs back in the academy, the realization that he could now banish his little skeleton to the other dimension and recall it again at will. He had tested that ability 3 times the previous night, confirming that the magical brand he placed truly allowed him to resummon the same undead creature. Buoyed by that success, and by the coin purse he'd stashed away under his bed, he had made his preparations and now felt more confident than ever, even in this unfamiliar place. With one last wistful look at the glowing runes, he let out a soft sigh. Teleportation matrices like this rarely appeared in most of the Empire's cities. Only a few strategic locations could afford such technology, as it consumed immense resources with each use. Were it not for the Academy's presence and his inclusion in the necromancy students group, Han Shuo might never have experienced traveling by teleportation in his entire life. He soon learned that this city was called Zajoski, situated on the southwestern fringes of the Lancelot Empire. It served as a critical defensive position against threats from beyond the Kerlan Valley to the west, lands inhabited by the savage orcs, and was also close to the vast dark forest, home to magical creatures, elves, and countless other secrets. As a result, Zajoski was heavily fortified, with a permanent military presence to repel orc incursions and to monitor the forest's unpredictable beasts. The city's unique location also made it a haven for adventurers and merchants eager to profit from the precious resources in the surrounding region, from rare beast components to the elves' highly sought-after magical crafts. "Noble mages of the Empire, welcome to Zajoski," called out the official in charge of operating the matrix. He stood off to the side, bowing with genuine humility. "We hope you enjoy your stay here, and may you obtain everything you need." Fanny, leading their necromancy group, offered a polite nod. "Thank you. We'll see what rewards await us." Her gaze flicked to her students, including Han Shuo, and her tone turned slightly more serious. "This is not exactly the safest city in the Empire, so be mindful of your surroundings, Sam. Let's head out." The party then moved from the teleportation plaza onto Zajoski's main street, which bustled with a lively if somewhat rough energy. The necromancy students, 9 in total, followed Fanny and another adept necromancer named Jean. Han Shuo trailed behind, eyes straying to every new sight and sound. There was no sign of Fitch, who had stayed behind at the academy to retake his adept mage qualification test. As they walked, Han Shuo couldn't help noticing that the structures on either side of the street were constructed with sturdiness in mind. Most were carved from solid rock, lending them a squat, durable appearance reminiscent of fortress walls. Ornate architectural flourishes were sparse, replaced by thick columns and reinforced doors designed to withstand potential attack. The city walls themselves loomed high in the distance, a powerful shield against the orcs, who, by most accounts, constantly eyed this region's fertile lands with envy. Shops lined both sides of the wide avenue, Weapon stores, pharmacies, magical item emporiums, armorers, and provision warehouses. Their wooden signs swung gently in the breeze, advertising everything from enchanted daggers to potions of stamina. A few smaller establishments provided more recreational services. Taverns buzzing with rowdy adventurers, a bustling slave auction, and trading bazaars that offered all sorts of materials coveted by alchemists, mages, and warriors alike. Everywhere he looked, Han Shuo spotted individuals clad in the garb of mercenaries, knights with polished armor, robed mages from various schools of magic, and even slender, pointy-eared elves who moved with graceful poise. The mix was chaotic yet fascinating, underscoring how Zajoski had become a magnet for fortune seekers. Street vendors hollered about their goods, poets recited dramatic verses to passers-by. The occasional conflict flared into loud shouts or the clang of steel, and exotic animals drew curious stares. The entire city felt like a stage in constant motion, a place unlike the more orderly Babylon Academy of Magic and Force. "All right, students, pay attention," Jean suddenly called out, raising his voice over the din. "We need to leave the city before sundown. Remember, this isn't a safe place for lengthy sightseeing. Our first stop is the town of Droll. If we don't reach it by dark, we'll be sleeping under the stars tonight, and you'll all regret dawdling." Fanny cast a fond glance at the novices, some of whom were gawking at the shops and noisy crowds with unbridled excitement. "They're like flowers raised in a greenhouse," she remarked with a soft laugh. "Many of them are seeing Zajoski for the first time, so it's only natural they're curious. Still, we'd better hurry." Han Shuo sidestepped a passing wagon and noticed that a few of his fellow necromancy students had the same wide-eyed expression he did. Apart from Derek, who was a journeyman mage, most were novice mages or magic apprentices, entirely new to traveling in a place so energetic and dangerous. Lisa, walking near him, glanced up to see him loaded down like a pack mule. Her eyes flickered with concern. "Brian, are you really okay carrying all that? You must have at least half of our supplies on your back." Bella, a novice mage just ahead of them, overheard and turned with a raised eyebrow. "Oh, Lisa, since when do you care about Brian's well-being?" she teased, smirking slightly. "That's not like you at all." It was true that Han Shuo currently shouldered a staggering amount of gear. While spatial rings existed in this world, they were prohibitively expensive and rare, well beyond the reach of most commoners, and certainly beyond the means of a typical academy necromancy class. As a result, all the essentials they needed for a field trip, rations, tents, extra clothing, spare scrolls, and assorted magical reagents, had been divided among the group. Yet, piece by piece, more had been piled onto Han Shuo's sturdy frame. A few students had been shocked that he could carry so much, but Han Shuo simply grinned. He saw it as an opportunity to continue strengthening his body, using the extra weight as a form of training. Right now, bags, bundles, and even a few boxes dangled from him, leaving only his dusty, smiling face visible. "It's no problem," Han Shuo assured Lisa. His voice relaxed despite the strain on his shoulder sole. "Good rations give me good strength, and the exercise doesn't bother me at all." Lisa sniffed, a little disconcerted by his mild response. Can't recognize a simple act of kindness," she muttered under her breath, but her eyes flashed with an odd light. Ever since that strange incident in the trap, when Han Shuo had made his over-the-top melodramatic confession, she had treated him quite differently, softening her usual barbs, and even offering the occasional gesture of concern. Bella gave a playful snort at her fellow novice mage. "Oh, come on, Lisa. Wasn't it you who gave him that agony of the soul and made him half crazy in the first place? Oddly enough, he's gotten taller and stronger afterward, even more energetic than before. Maybe your spell did him some good." Lisa shot Bella a glare. "Shut it, Bella. Mind your own business. You're the one who keeps fussing over him, not me," Bella retorted, rolling her eyes. "All right, enough of that." Fanny's calm voice interrupted. "We really do need to pick up the pace if we want to leave the city. If you prefer to set up camp in the wilderness and risk being harassed by wolves or worse, go ahead and continue dawdling. Otherwise, let's go." Her words sobered the group, and they quickened their steps. Even the curious students realized they didn't want to become an easy target in the untamed regions between Zajoski and the smaller towns. The city gates, constructed of heavy iron and set into towering stone walls, loomed ahead, busy with traffic. Caravans, mounted knights, and wandering adventurers milled in and out, providing a reminder of how diverse and chaotic this place could be. As they merged into the flow of traffic exiting Zajoski, Fanny cast a quick glance at Han Shuo, noting his relaxed gait under the heavy load. "Brian, you truly are sure you're not overdoing it?" she asked, voice lowered with concern. "Not at all, Master Fanny. he replied with a confident smile. The Academy's improved rations have done wonders for me. Carrying these supplies is no problem. She regarded him thoughtfully, recalling how months earlier, he had been nothing more than a scrawny, frail errand boy. Now, not only had he bulked up and grown taller, he also wore a quietly determined expression that suggested deeper changes. "All right," she said with a nod and a small laugh. "Then let's be on our way." Under the golden afternoon sun, the necromancy group pressed on, weaving through bustling streets until they passed beneath the towering gate and out onto the open road. Zajoski's crenellated walls cast long shadows behind them, a silent reminder of the city's perpetual vigilance against orcs and forest creatures alike. Soon, they would be traversing the rocky plains and rolling hills toward the town of Droll. Little did any of them know just how many challenges and opportunities awaited them out there, beyond the sheltering walls of Zajoski. Han Shuo, for his part, couldn't help feeling a faint thrill of anticipation. This would be his first true venture away from the Academy, one that might test all the new strengths and mysteries he had been cultivating in secret. Yet despite that tinge of excitement, the day wore on, and each step took them farther from the familiar paths and deeper into the realm of the unknown. For better or worse, there was no turning back now.